have that instinct automatically. Because remember, some of this stuff is genetic. They either have it or they don't, right? This is what it's all about, people. Attack the boy! He must know that I'm in the dog fight with him. I'm next to him side by side. We have a bond that's unbreakable. That's right, baby. Look at that. You see that shirt? Me versus all, Mississippi versus all, y'all.
You're from Mississippi, you were saying. That's where you're from?
Yeah, born and raised. I mean, I'm not just born there and then when I turned 2, I moved. That doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
It's where you're born, it's where you're born, and then more importantly, where you raised, where you spend most of your childhood, like from elementary to high school. That's where you're raised.
Yeah.
So, no, we're gonna wait till some more people come in live. But no, man. So, how far are you from Charlotte?
I'm about an hour and a half from Charlotte, and then I do a lot of my content creation in Raleigh, which is 2 hours from me. I'm in Winston-Salem.
So you're not far from Raleigh, Durham.
No, I mean 2 hours is not too bad, but I like it out there. Raleigh's probably my favorite part of North Carolina because of the different city scenery and stuff like that. It feels like California is just a lot more green.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But yeah.
Let's say hold on for a minute here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, beautiful. The package was delivered. No, man. I want to start talking when some more people start coming in. Oops. Let me put my other Facebook. God damn it. Here we go. My dog page. That's a good. Hold on. Yeah, because I want them to, because I have a good engagement with the Facebook dog page.
Yeah.
Like no shit. When I tell you this, I have maybe. So watch this. So I have, here we go. So I have like with Instagram, because with Instagram, you got to have an extra account. You know what I'm saying? Hey, move the camera where it's centered.
Centered? How's this?
There you go.
Okay.
So my Instagram with 3 accounts, I got maybe like almost 1 million followers, right? But I mean, it can be bots, you know what I'm saying? Bots or trolls, whatever, right? Right. Mm-hmm. But TikTok, you on TikTok?
Yeah, we have a TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok to me is one of the most organic engagements on social media. No shit when I tell you that.
It's huge.
Yeah, yeah. And the Facebook dog page, I have about almost 119,000 followers, and every day it's about an extra 500. So to me, that's organic too, right? Yeah. I think I like Facebook better than Instagram, but they're one and the same. And then my YouTube, you got to get that YouTube cracking, bro. So whatever you put on Instagram, you got to put it on everything else. I know it takes a while, but you got to do it. And if you're going to add music, you got to take music from each social media because they'll copyright your ass in a heartbeat.
Yeah, 100%.
But the engagement, man, it's kind of bananas, man, because I don't have like Trevor who they call it Fit Bully TV. Mm-hmm. He changed it called Pet Health or something like that now. Mm-hmm. He has well over almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And he said I don't get paid to reply to comments. And it's hard for me to take that mindset because when people are coming for me, I'm so defensive. Like, if you come for me, let's play with this. Like you want to take it personal, let's meet somewhere. Let's talk about it. Let's talk with our hands if we got to, because I'm not going to be bullied. It's hard for me to accept the negativity from people because I don't give it to them. Mm. That's weird. Now, if I'm a guy that's always fucking with people and there's somebody fucking with me, okay, maybe that chemistry works, but I don't come for nobody. Right. But I guess they think when they try to come for me that, oh, he's different. Like I got a thing right now where this lady, she's selling fake, she's not selling fake dogs, but she has a litter of puppies with these dogs. These dogs is imported. right? But I know these dogs because I have connections over there, right? I mean, I've been buying overseas probably before she was. And I've even been over there. I was over there just this year at IDC over there in Croatia. They know me. And those dogs don't have titles over there. They wasn't built for it. And then 3 months later, they got an IGP1. Dude, it takes years, 2 years to get a thing point. They can compete on on the field, right? So, but how they justify the high cost in the dogs is that the parents are IGP. Well, I think they're great dogs. You don't have to if you got a supporting base. You don't have to put fake accolades to justify it. You yourself doing good business should justify the cost of your services or your product. And this conversation we're having right now comes full circle.
Yeah.
Right. So, people, I want to introduce Austin Shanks. What's weird is that I had a good friend of mine named Terrence Shanks. It's like all the Shank guys are light skinned brothers. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But anyway, we had a conversation before about your kennel. That video was great.
Yeah.
I think you had a high top fade then. You probably still do. You just didn't comb your hair this time, right?
Hey, bro, need a haircut for Thanksgiving. Give me 2 days. It'll be there.
You lucky. I wish I was in your shoes. I can't grow hair right here. Do you know if I grew hair, if I just didn't shave for like 3 months, dude, I would look like a black Bruce Willis. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some hair growing right here, but ain't nothing cracking up here, right? The 8 o'clock shadow, that's me right there.
Yeah.
But no, man, I want to say, man, thanks for coming on. I've been following you. I support you, and you have a program that I think you just landed, or you're going to land it this month.
Yeah. So basically, we've been behind the scenes for a couple of years because what I've been very big on is proof before the promise. So the results we've been able to drive for other breeders and stuff of that sort was extremely important because, of course, in the industry we're in, we got a lot of people that tell you they'll do certain things or they'll help you with certain things, but they don't really, try to do that, or at least it's not successful. So I know the stigma in the industry of everybody talking about it. So I wanted to really be about it. So over the last 2 years, we've been behind the scenes running beta programs, testing, collecting data. And now we're officially, it's not what you would consider to be a public launch because it's still exclusive, private, behind the scenes, but it is our, I guess you could say, launch date of the curriculum that has been developed behind the scenes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We talked about it when we first interviewed, and I think what the fortunate and the unfortunate, right? The unfortunate is that this should have been done a while ago, right? Because we had the mind, we had the presence of mind. The fortunate thing is that we're doing it now, and we're doing it at a time where we're seeing that there's so many breeders out there that want to do the right thing, but they don't have a blueprint. They don't have instructions.
Yeah.
Right? It's like this right here. It's blank, right? And until they take a course, or I say pay for mentoring / coaching, because to me there's a difference in those meanings, and I will explain. But until they get with somebody who has had all the failures and had successes, who are you going to learn from? You're going to learn at what is that? Okay. You're going to learn from your mistakes. And what we're trying to do here is not have our future counterparts not learn by their mistakes. So we give them a blueprint. And that what comes to me with the comments of and the questions that tell us about this online mentorship program and what it all includes when and if somebody decides, when they apply, and then you guys approve their application to even be a mentee.
Yeah, 100%. So Breedwise is the company name, and Breedwise is the first educational platform where it's not just, me teaching you from my mistakes and stuff of that sort. Because this is how I see it, Gerald. it's interesting that at least I'll give you my dynamic, because XL Bullies, right? That's the breeding program I've created. It's been successful. It's been great. But I come from a niche breed where there isn't really an emphasis on an understanding of genetics or health testing or how you can really better your breed. And every breed, I assume everybody talks about bettering their breed. But when it comes down to like brass tacks, the actual doing it is the challenge. And one of the biggest things for me was there was no resource to find the information on how to do that. So I've been able to go from the trial and error that every breeder usually goes through with spending money on unhealthy dogs because I didn't have the information, or getting information gate kept from me from mentors that I thought had my best interest. And it turned out that that wasn't the case. And then, not having veterinary support or resources to really make the best decisions, not just for my, program and business, but for my dogs and the livelihood that they essentially have. And so what BreedWise is it's not just me as the, sole expert. We have a veterinary team. We have a student success team. It's basically a team of individuals dedicated to the breeder's success. So that way they can get the support that they need. And more importantly, they should have in order to succeed, because I'm sure you're familiar, like even with your content that you're consistently putting out, that in itself requires extra hands, extra hours, extra time. When you think about having a breeding business, unfortunately, so many people get so invested early on, thousands and thousands of dollars, and they put together the puppies, but they have no idea what it is that they're doing. So they're liable to lose. They're liable to, not just lose money, but lose puppies. And when it comes down to their experience, it's, okay, well, I put this much money in, I should get this much money out. It's not that, investing and starting a business is the wrong mentality. It's just the fact that if you start your breeding business and you don't actually have, a passion for breeding or want to learn about how to actually better your breed, you're destined for failure. Because in order to have a successful breeding business, you have to have what you would consider to be a foundation of breeding education. Because if you don't know how to better your breed, which means you don't know how to provide real value. You'll lose puppies. You'll create genetic defects inadvertently, like not on purpose. And you just won't find yourself in a position where year over year, your dogs and your program is getting better. So having a business where your product is not good is not a business, right? You're just going to be,
Correct.
Commoditizing yourself every single year. You see it in the market. Let's just say I asked 10 breeders, how many breeders do you see that start? And out of 100, how many breeders do you see that start and they end up either failing or not accomplishing their goal? They'll say 90 out of 100. And 90% failure rate or turnover rate in the industry is extremely high when it's really simple, not to do breeding, but for us to be able to communicate the mistakes we've been through and what success looks like. How do you get to success? Because guess what? We can all only have, ethically, only so many puppies per year. And if that's the case, then guess what? There's more than enough market share for everybody. But for years, decades, competition has been sold into the community where if you win, I lose, right? And it's unfortunate. What I love about what you're doing, Gerald, is you're giving everybody, no matter who they are, a platform to speak about their program and ultimately like amplify themselves. And you don't have to do that. We don't have to be on this podcast right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful, but it's also something that should be at the root of any industry, because what a lot of people fail to realize is that if you're not providing value, you're going to go out of business. Business is a transaction of value, meaning that you pay me for the value I give you, or I pay you for the value you give me. And if you're strictly focused on transactions, then, you're just going to commoditize yourself. There's nothing valuable about that. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. The interesting part about it is that I think this is what we call unlocking gatekeeping. Okay. Because the successful breeders either have learned from their financial mistakes or they've learned from people who are breeding before them. Right. And there's not enough people like me and you out there who are willing to teach people how to do things the right way. I think when I looked at your website a couple of days ago, you have all the things in place. And I wrote down some stuff. Usually I write questions down, I write stuff down, but the main downfall of breeders today, number one, is marketing. everybody want to be hell bent on just Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is a rented space. That means the landlord, who is Meta, can take your page away, can restrict your page from you, can bar you from having a page, right?
Yeah.
So I noticed that, and I'm older than you, but I remember when bell bottoms were in style in the 70s, right? And then they came back in style in the 2000s or mid 2000s. Now they're back in style.
Yeah.
I remember when afros, believe it or not, were in style. Now afros are back in style, whether kids want to be well groomed or not, or have the mushroom thing going. It's repeating itself. So fashion repeats itself. People styles of doing things repeat itself. If you think about this, you was here during the recession. Remember when even during COVID, even during the recession, all of these stores like Toys R Us and everybody went out of business because buying online was the thing.
Mm.
Now people are opening back walk-in retail store because people want to see the tangible goods. They want to touch it. They want to smell it. They want to see it. And now stores are back opening again. Websites. Before MySpace, and you wasn't allowed to have MySpace because you was too young, right? Because your parents didn't let you. But even back then, websites were the thing to have, right? And now people went away with that and they said, why pay for a host? Why pay for a domain? Why pay for that when I can just simply have a website on Facebook?
Mm.
That's rented space. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a website on Facebook, but have a plan B, plan C, a plan a plan D. You have your own website regardless,
Yeah.
right? So I think marketing, and if a person doesn't want to expound on controlling their own destiny, because there's a beautiful thing called two words on the website. It's called Google Ads. You know what that means? You go inside of googleads.com and you pay for advertising and you draw traffic to your website,
Yeah.
right? And so marketing is number one. Number
Mm-hmm.
two is branding. Branding. I will say this. Ralph Lauren, he has 3 logos. One says Ralph Lauren, the other one says Polo, and the other one has the polo guy on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
They're never on a shirt or an item all at once. But when you see it, guess what? You know
What
who the
brand it
brand.
is. You know what's interesting? I want to give you a little bit of perspective. I was talking to a breeder today, and this breeder, first breeding, have all puppies available, none sold. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to emphasize with them is that yes, the thought process is if I get more clients, then I'll be more successful. So we think marketing, branding. You're not wrong. If you do have more clients, you have a higher opportunity to sell and do what you need to do. But the dilemma, and this is where it kind of we're looking at this from a very long-term perspective, is how can we create a business that doesn't just win once, but it's sustainable and profitable and ethical no matter the industry or market conditions. Because what you see time and time again is there's a fad. We talked about this last time where we were talking about how people look at trends and then they breed for them and then they try to go with the next one when it comes around to get, like, it's a pump and dump essentially, where they're trying to get rich quick. And what we put a lot of emphasis on is the marketing and branding aspect. But I think where you, especially as somebody who knows your breed very well, and just generally speaking, veterinary experts, geneticists, theriogenologists, etc., come into play, is that when we can start breaking down how to better your breed, think about it like this, what you just mentioned, Polo Ralph Lauren. If the quality of what they were producing wasn't good and everybody knew about it, then everybody would just know that they suck, right? But if you have something that is actually quality and more people know about it, you have a higher likelihood of succeeding because you know what you're doing. So a lot of breeders can be known, like how many breeders do we see that may have followers, but their quality isn't there, and they're still sitting on puppies, even though when COVID hit, they were up. Now they can't sell a puppy to, long story short, when it comes down to it, we need to be more, just as much emphasis as we have on business, we have to have the emphasis on breeding, because we can start a business, we can learn about marketing, we can learn about branding. But the way I put it is this: if you start a business and it's a breeding business and you're focused on the marketing aspect and the branding aspect, and you neglect breeding because you're just not passionate about it, but you have dogs, then you're creating a broken business. Because like I mentioned before, when whelping comes around, you don't know what to do. You haven't developed the relationships with either veterinarians or experts that can give you real guidance, not guesswork, where it's like, hey, this is what I've been through before, here's what I think you should do. No, like, what is it that you're actually supposed to do? And you're going to put yourself in a position where you're losing money due to unnecessary losses, and you're not creating enough value for your breed where people can say, hey, look, I like what Austin's dogs look like. They're different than everything I've ever seen before. I don't want to buy from somebody else because I know I'm not going to get that same level of quality. So
Right.
I know he has high demand. So you know what? Let me see what I can do. I'm going to give him everything I got to get this dog. And now, mind you, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't buy it. But long story short, that's the point, right? And so on the other side of the spectrum, we have breeders that have probably been around for 20, 30 years that are outdated because they focused on perfecting their breed, which is a necessary prerequisite to being a breeder. But when you think about it, if you're only focusing on breeding, which, mind you, we want to emphasize that you do need to have a passion for breeding. But if you're only focused on that and you're not focused on marketing and you're not focusing on branding, you're creating an expensive hobby that you want it to be sustainable. But the problem is if you don't do the combination of both, where you master breeding and you master business, then you're in both direction. They lead to a dead end, so to speak.
That's true, because my twin brother always says, he said, I always had the mindset, like when we was in business together, if my employee didn't come to work on time, or if he bullshits, I said, get rid of him. And I would do his job. And then another person would be bullshitting, the warehouse guy. I get rid of his ass. I send his ass home. And Greg said, hey, man, you can't do it all. Right? With that being said, the really good breeders, old school breeders who bred for the geno and phenotype, sometimes haven't evolved into the breeder they need to be today. Case in point, let's say Dobermans, right?
Yeah.
There are Doberman breeders out there that had some great, phenomenal dogs. But over the years, the Dobermans that had these genetic issues have been more prevalent. So now he's forgetting or not paying attention to the DCM genetic code and the degenerative myopathy, DM issues that are genetic, or the von Willebrand, the VWD genetic gene, because he's been focusing so much on keeping the name that I create fire. I got nice working dogs. So now the health part has gotten negated because you're focusing on the physical part, which that's what the people literally only see up front, because genetic issues is an intangible. You really can't touch it. Right? You have to test for it.
Yeah.
But you can't touch it. You got to believe in it, that is plausibly there. So my thing is, getting back to your program. Let's say I wanted to be a part of your program, that I wanted to breed XL bullies or pocket bullies, which is called micro bullies, or just be a part of a bully breed that want to breed for temperament, breed for health, breed for structure. What would I be doing once I reach out to you? I know I have to fill out a questionnaire.
Yeah. So I do want to clarify, it is not breed specific. So we got, English Bulldogs, we got Frenchie breeders, Dobermans, Rottweilers, not Dobermans yet, Irish Gordon Setters.
I love Irish Gordon Setters, bro.
I'm telling you. So we have a diverse group of breeders already, and we've been working with breeders internationally already over the last 2 years. And so to give you clarification on what you were talking about with genetics, like we have some very, very powerful veterinary experts behind the scenes that are really doing what they can to put an emphasis on getting breeders the support that they need and helping those who want to do it the right way do it right. And so what that means is interpreting genetic tests. That way we're not guessing and rolling the dice, understanding which health tests to do and what you should be looking for in terms of, is a dog breed worthy or is it not, or what pairing you should do. So it goes beyond just the bully breeds. And I say that with emphasis because I believe, of course, specific breeds like you just mentioned with the Doberman have the different genetic traits that you have to know about for your specific breed. But with the little nuances eliminated, breeding in business is universal when it comes down to genetic diversity, COI, X, Y, and Z, and then also the reproductive cycle. Of course, there's nuances with the different sizes of the dogs and stuff of that sort. But my vet team, this is the reason why I want to make sure there's a like a clear distinction. I'm here to teach the business. My vets teach the breeding stuff because I want to make sure that we're no longer as breeders rolling the dice and guessing or just relying on another breeder's experience. Because of course I can speak to different information that I've experienced before, but if that's is that a complete, I guess you could say interpretation of what you're going through to where it's going to solve your problem completely? It might, but hey, I want to be certain that if you get the information, you're going to be like, this is exactly what I needed. And you reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to get the transformation you needed. So to answer the question you asked me, which is once somebody applies, what is the next step? Well, we have a very simple process. It's not super complicated. We ask the questions to make sure that, of course, somebody's serious and that they're not just wasting time. After that, we have a qualifying team where we have a conversation where it's really beneficial for the breeder, where we give them clarity on the next steps regardless.
But let me ask you this, and I don't mean to stop, but do it's part of the screening process is that they have to have the actual land size or living arrangements or the actual, where they have a place, because you can't be a breeder
and you don't have the actual,
and you live in a studio.
It's a good question. So it'd be different from my program, meaning like my breeding program, right? Where I have to ask you questions about the dogs. With Breedwise Academy specifically, we are asking you questions to make sure you're a good fit. So yes, to be specific, if they don't have the right mindset, the right capacity, the right resources, they're not going to get in. You have to be dedicated to this, and you have to be somebody that has the capacity to truly do this. Now, I'm not going to name the price. Reach out if you want to know that information. But when it comes down to the, we don't price it to just let anybody in. We got to make sure that the individual is invested in their success, because once they do get through that gate and get access, the amount of support and the overall transformation you're going to receive, not only does it pay for itself very quickly, but like I mentioned, for me, when I first got started, this is exactly what I wish I would have had. And the expedition of my growth, like I have breeders and we'll get into this as far as testimonials, but I got breeders that started a year and a half ago with 85,000 followers, wait lists for their puppies, and their health testing, genetic testing. And they learned all of this within that amount of time to where they're going and meeting with individuals that have been breeding for 7 years and they're teaching them, right? So that's the distinction. It's like, we're no longer in a position where it's a guessing game. We can actually build a successful, sustainable, ethical, profitable breeding business like never before with these resources,
So let's give some shout outs to people. Dr. Angela Hughes, she's your genetic mastery. She's a genetic expert. On her team, what is she specifically designed to do for your clients or your mentees on this one?
Great question. So shout out to Dr. Angela Hughes, very intelligent, and she's been an advisor and, more importantly, very pivotal in the growth of Breedwise. But when it comes down to the genetic test, let me ask you, have you heard of like optimal selection with the Royal Canin, not Royal Canin, but Mars brand? I'm blanking on the name, but it's the genetic test. It's not Embark.
It's just another genetic testing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a genetic test. I'm trying to get the name down, which is pretty funny that I say it every single day, and I'm literally blanking on it. Give me 1 second. So let me see. Perfect. Yes, wisdom panel. Have you heard of the wisdom panel?
I heard the wisdom panel. Yes.
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 So
that's another type. That's another testing agency, isn't it?
Yes, correct. So the reason why I bring that up is because Angela led the research and the overall development of that genetic test. So that's why I say the expertise is different, because now when somebody submits their test results, et cetera, they're essentially able to get real life feedback on what these specific things mean. Does that make sense?
Okay. So, and ZTR, Trey had a question, right? And we're going to get back to your other members on your board.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is maybe premature, but what type of success have your students had?
Yes. So let's define success, right? We have two types of success. We have breeding success and we have business success. Our breeders have introduced health testing, where we've seen them take steps to not only do OFA and genetic testing because they either were not familiar with it before, but they started doing it. The results that they've gotten have been great. Of course, we can't control the outcome, but for Jasmine, for instance, her boy, who is a mini English bulldog, she didn't know about OFA testing. She ended up doing OFA testing. He passed with flying colors. And with her specifically, when she joined Breedwise, she was producing her puppies and selling them for an average of $2,000. After 4 weeks of having strategy sessions, et cetera, she sold her litter out in 4 weeks and she tripled her pricing. And so, long story short, when you think about results, I could go on and on. We got Jake, Gonzalo, Shaylee,
Shady McGrady.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, we got a lot of testimonials of people who've been able to transform. I mean, Mike, for instance, been breeding for 13 years, and the amount of information that he got from the veterinary team transformed his overall disease prevention, and he never knew this information. Not sure if you guys know this, maybe you do, maybe you don't, and this is something that I learned literally within the last 48 hours from my vet team. Lysol, the different things they sell at the store, they're very ineffective for the dogs. We use Rescue at my property, but a veterinary cleaning solution, but a lot of breeders are just unfamiliar with the small, nuanced information regarding the actual breeding process, which again is why we have the experts on board.
Shout out, people. Listen, thanks for tuning in on this lazy Tuesday. If you guys want to follow, my guy Austin, trust me, he's a wealth of information. He's young, he's ambitious as fuck. So you got to believe in that. He's an Instagram page at Jungle Bully Family. I was calling it Jungle Fever. Man, y'all breeders be killing me, man. I was like, bruh, I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to you brothers out there. But you want to go to his website to get more information. You want to go to breedwise.io. What does IO stand for?
It stands for input and output.
Okay. So they ran out of .coms and .orgs.
Yeah, no, I mean, breedwise.io is very fitting. It's like in the new AI age.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the panel.
Cool.
So to confirm, the vet will be cool because when they decide they want to breed two dogs, the first thing they're going to say, well, hey, get genetic testing done. Let's see what both of them, because we don't want to keep perpetuating a bad gene.
Yeah.
Right. Or bad genes. And that goes to tell me, remember I said there's a difference between mentoring and coaching?
Yeah.
To me, and it just is my definition. Mentoring is, and I'm not talking about a chat GTP definition, but my symbolic definition of mentoring is that you're taking somebody who wants to be taught something that they've never done before. And you're, as a mentee, looking for a mentor, right? Coaching is when somebody's already has the program down, but you're trying to improve what you're doing. And the coach is supposed to be transparent with you on what you're doing incorrectly or what you need to do to improve. Case in point, I know it's insignificant, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I bodybuild from 49 years of age up until 53.
Yeah.
Right? Even my coach has a coach. I needed a coach. You see what I'm saying? So don't think that nobody's coaching nobody. Everybody needs somebody to look up to better themselves. And that's even like Tony Robbins. You know, Tony Robbins, the guy, the guru speech guy, and Eric Thomas, the guy. So, you know, these big time speech people who present motivational speeches,
Yeah.
they even have coaches. They have coaches. So that gets me to the other part, the other member of your panel. Let me move it over here. It's better. You have this individual by the name of Yasmin Omar,
Yeah. That's my.
social media mastery. So let me see if I can get with the definition, the actual job description name. She's the one that's going to help you how to master your marketing, your
Yes.
branding, your visibility. Am I right? So let's present her. Tell me who she is.
So Yas is my significant other. She's the counterpart of Jungle Bully family. However, Yas has been doing her thing with social media ever since I really went, full time with Breedwise. And so with her running the page, both pages, she's in less than 6 months accumulated over 80,000 on Facebook. And then she's done 80,000 on TikTok, and our Instagram right now is at 132,000. We have about 5.5 million views on a monthly basis on Instagram organically. Organically, we're getting about 10 to 15 inquiries for puppies every single day. No ad spend, anything like that. And she's been able to do this year over year, where right now we're approaching, if I'm not mistaken, with Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, we're at 300,000 followers collectively, and all organic. But more importantly, she's been able to monetize the pages. She's been in a position to where she's just grown every single year. So from the moment we started our social medias, of course, were times where I was running it too, but she's the one putting in the work with studying and stuff of that sort. So she essentially is helping everybody understand what to do on social media, what's working, what's in the now, what's not, because of course the algorithm is forever changing on multiple platforms. So it's kind of like, how do you maximize your conversion with these different platforms, no matter what season,
So Yasmin, she definitely has figured it out.
Yes.
Definitely. And that's dope as shit though, man, to have somebody to cover all bases. So let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
So my uncle, rest in peace, lived in Houston, Texas for almost 50 years, 45, 50 years. And he started buying franchises of this chicken place called Frenchie's Fried Chicken. You probably never heard of it. It's one of those, those like Harold's Chicken in Chicago where it's still black started on and people are faithful to it because it tastes good, right?
Yeah.
My uncle ended up having at least 5 French's chicken. Okay. Something happened with the ownership, and my uncle being a franchisee, where the relationship went sour. He didn't give the ingredients because the seasoning for the chicken was a special secret sauce, so special seasoning that he did not put out in the universe. Just like KFC. Mm-hmm. KFC, they will not tell you the actual amount, how much is salt, how much is pepper, how much is cayenne. You will never know that. That's like the Coca-Cola formula. It's under lock and key. You ain't gonna be able to duplicate it, right?
Yeah.
But because of my uncle never struggled financially with those I call them chicken coops. With those chicken coops, is because of the marketing brand was already out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have somebody that's marketing for you, or if somebody shows you when to post, like I got a weekly news letter going out every week. Shout out to my man JD who does my weekly news ads. It's free subscription. Guys, sign up. I got some good information, not just about Dobies, but every other dog too. And he's pulling information. I don't know how he's doing it. Maybe AI, maybe not, but he's pulling information, and we're giving the information back to people. Now, those are organic. So right now I have maybe 225, maybe 230 subscribers. Those are organic. So now in about another 2 or 3 months, I may have 500. So now every time I get an organic subscriber for my weekly news ad, when there's time that I have to sell a puppy, I can just create a weekly news flyer because I have somebody, and look at the numbers. If I have 500 subscribers of the week, just the weekly news ad, and only 10% of 500 is what? 50, right? So what's 1% of 500? So you got 10, 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I've already sold half the litter if just 1% of the people are interested in buying a puppy from me. That's just one avenue. Huh?
No, I was going to say, it's interesting. So like with what I know about email conversion and stuff of that sort. So I'm sure you're familiar of the term like email nurturing, right? Where
Yes.
that's huge. And I think that it's so good that you started one, because as long as you provide that value, when that time does come, you'll be in a position to where you have a higher chance of converting, and it has to be genuine value. Like I would suggest, I know obviously AI is, just give it your tone if you need to in terms of like convenience, etc. But make sure that it's as authentic as it possibly can be, because
right.
when you have that real relationship and it's tangible value that they hold after so much value is given, then next thing you know, somebody's not even waiting for you to send that out. They're like, hey, look, Gerald, I'm sure they already do. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? So
there it is. And here's the deal. We're giving nuggets, bro. Like what we're doing is that we're giving you options to market yourself where you won't be restricted by one source. Right? So let's get back to the team, the dream team. Let's get back over here.
yes, the dream
So
team.
now the dream team, that's what we call it. So now we have David Mahoney.
Yes.
David does reproduction mastery. So I'm going to assume that he's going to tell you, he's going to inform you if you're going to be doing AI or TCI or surgical, but also going to tell you how to break down motility, all that stuff. So tell me, I mean,
I think the best thing that I could do, and this is just for the sake of like giving you a clear understanding of what Breedwise offers and then who's like behind the scenes creating it, is go through the program and then we go through the team, just because then we'll understand how each person fits in. What I would say is that David, Dr. David Mahoney, board certified reproductive theriogenologist, one of few in the world, who specializes in small animal reproduction. And so he is taking what he's not only learned in clinics, but the, many years he spent in school and giving breeders the highest level of information. And I have a podcast on our YouTube channel with him. And one of the best things that he said was, I've been doing this for over a decade and I learn new things every day. So for breeders, the amount of coachability that you should have, like, how many times do we see breeders that, act like they know everything when in reality, there's so much to learn. This is why no matter what, I'm a student of the game, and I'm sure you are as well, which you show it in your content. It's just, you can never stop learning, especially in this industry, because dogs never stop changing. You know what I'm saying? New things always happen. But I was going to say, if you want to go through the rest of the team, we can. I was just thinking that from the program perspective, really breaking it down from that aspect would allow you to see kind of how everybody plays that part. But it's up to you completely.
No. We do it. This is your time to shine. So I'm gonna let you lead. So, let me. And guys, if you guys want to follow him on YouTube, you can go to Jungle Bully Family. Just type that in.
Breedwise.io on all platforms for the Breedwise, but yes, Jungle Bully Family for YouTube and Instagram if you want to check me out there too.
Right here. Here's the website right here. It's breedwise.io. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Jungle Bully Family. And you know what? You got that YouTube, Jungle Bully Family. So you can't not find them. Is that correct English? You cannot find them.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next person, Dr. Taylor Parker. And before we get to that, let me ask you a question. So with the approval of being a mentee, we would have access to all of these people individually?
Correct. So not only will you have access to them, but you'll be able to ask them questions and stuff of that sort. But I do have to put out this disclaimer. So there's this thing, it's called VCPR, which means veterinary client patient relationship. So our veterinarians are not able to prescribe. They're not able to diagnose because they don't have a veterinary client relationship where they're meeting with you in person. However, the benefit of Breedwise is that you have the ability to go into your vet with an educated understanding of what you potentially are experiencing. So that way you're able to make sure you're not being taken advantage of in some situations, but more importantly, you're informed. Now, when it comes down
so in
to
clear English, we got a second opinion, so we won't get bullshitted by the vets that we see in person.
correct. And we're definitely doing our best to make sure that veterinarians and breeders work together. The next person you were about to go to, Dr. Taylor, that's my veterinary relationship specialist. She's the head of veterinary relations. She's a very big reason as to why we've gotten where we are today.
Okay.
But yeah. So Dr. Taylor specifically opening up her own practice in Tampa, Florida called
Taylor Parker.
Taylor
Yeah.
Parker. Yep. Parker Pet Clinic in Tampa, Florida. Shout out to that.
Shout out Dr.
Yes.
P.
Dr. P. She's amazing. She's a GP, which means general practitioner. She sees dogs as like pets, not breeding. She doesn't do reproduction, but she was introduced to Breedwise over a year ago, and it was from somebody I knew in the veterinary world. We had a conversation, and she realized that she had this negative stigma of breeders, and she really didn't, know much about them, but she saw this as an opportunity to solve the issue. And so she's leading that initiative of getting veterinarians to really not only work with breeders, but really be a part of the solution, because veterinarians they're the guardians of trust. They're the most trusted source in the world. And so with that being said, when it comes down to dogs, but of course there's a gap between breeders and vets, because vets don't trust breeders, breeders don't trust vets. But if there's a partnership there, then business for breeders not only gets better, but veterinarians can sleep with peace at night because they know breeders are doing it the right way. Now, caveat, this is why it's so important that breeders actually adopt best standards, because for so long, due to the gap between breeders and vets, breeders try to go around the veterinarian because they want to save cost. And then veterinarians see so many different horror stories because breeders are not doing the right things. Now, this is not everybody, but because a lot of breeders don't get the right information, or they only work with the breeder that they bought their dog from, they're limited to that information. So what happens is they're making uneducated guesses on what they should be doing, and breeders end up suffering, dogs end up suffering, and veterinarians witness it all. So with Breedwise, our job is to eliminate the guesswork. We give you the full outline of not just breeding, not just genetics, not just business, but everything that you have to know when it comes down to breeding from people who are experts. And so, long story short, when it comes down to it all, the primary focus is just making sure that we can turn this industry into something that has never been seen before, which is building something strong where we have breeders winning in their breeding program. Their dogs are improving. The dogs are happy. They're stimulated. They're mentally fit. They're emotionally sound. They're treated like actual pets as well as breeding animals, right? They're loved. And then we have veterinarians who are a part of the process, helping us along the way, making sure that we're not falling short because of information that we don't have. And as a byproduct of us doing it the right way, these veterinarians are supporting us and pushing us to be successful, because they know that through us doing it the right way, everybody wins, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what's interesting though, Austin, is you hit a point in the discussion that I've been telling new buyers of puppies of mine, is that unfortunately a vast majority of the general practitioner vets do not support reproduction. It's a very, very a gap. I give an example. Flex Wheeler got a puppy from us in the recent months, and he went to the vet, and this is in Clark County, which is Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, yep.
And the vets told him, said, "Hey, you got to neuter this puppy because it's a law." So wait a minute. I said, Flex. Flex was like, "Man, I don't want to do that." He's very proper, very well-spoken, soft-spoken cat. I said, "Bruh." I said, "Fuck that." I said, "No, you don't have to do that." I said, "Listen, there are laws that you have to be governed, that have to be put in place. But if you have a purebred dog with AKC registration and you're going to show your dog in an actual AKC sponsored show, they cannot make you neuter your animal, because everybody knows in the dog world, when you're trying to go for confirmation shows, the dog cannot be altered. They cannot be spaded, nor can they be neutered. and that's part of the showing of the animal. And so I said, hey man, I didn't know that. So yeah, man, listen, vets want you to adopt, if anything. They don't even listen, they have a problem of cropping and docking. And I think when it comes to breeding specific situations like progesterone tests and TCIs and puppy counts and all the other stuff and x-rays, ultrasounds, it's best to go to the reproduction vet because they do it more frequently, number one. And number two, they won't look at you with a distaste, a disdain about, oh, you're breeding, you should not do this. Because I'm gonna tell you, I've been in the Dobie game for 17 years coming up in January.
Yeah.
And the vet I go to for all of my medical needs, shout out to Dr. Anton at Alondra Animal Hospital over here in Gardena. He's excellent when it comes to medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to TCIs and PG tests and reverse progesterone tests and all that stuff, that's not their thing. So I'm glad you have a vet who is now open to the fact that, you know what, I can't fight this battle. People are going to do what they want to as long as they're doing it right. If I can't help the situation in regards to being preventative, at least I can be more educational and be a second part, a second, like when I had prostate cancer, my twin brother said, hey man, get a second opinion outside of the network. So instead of doing HOA, pay that $400-500 and talk to another urologist from UCLA or Cedars-Sinai. And I did that. And that saved my prostate because the doctors at Kaiser wanted to remove it. And by removing my prostate, I'm going to have everlasting effects. Urinary incontinence, wearing the pins, erectile dysfunctions. But see, had I went with the first suggestion on the people who I pay my medical bill to every month, I'd have been walking around like Deion Sanders. I got to have something or I'll pee on myself, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's great that you have a team member now that is now open, more involved in understanding that that if you're going to do it, be responsible.
Yeah, so and I will say this because you mentioned like fighting it. I think that it actually is what you would consider to be like the fighting. She is still fighting the fight. It's not like she gave up, on that. The reason why I want to, spotlight that is because I do believe that there is a very big problem with breeders who get into this and they think that it's easy or that it's a get rich quick scheme or somebody sells them a dream and it's, hey, you can have puppies and just sell them or try to make your money back. And what ends up happening because we have people that don't know what they're doing or because they don't know much about their breed, they're not committed like you and I to developing their breed and making it better. What ends up happening is they end up signing up for this activity. And because they don't know what they're doing and they're just trying to, either become profitable or they wanted to try it out. Again, the only individual or individuals that suffer are the dogs. If you're going to sign up to be a breeder, make sure that you know what you're doing. Because if you do not do that, if you don't do your due diligence and you don't really look into what do I need to know as far as my breed goes, is this breed the right one for my lifestyle? Do I have the financial capacity to actually pay for the different things that breeding requires? Can I take care of a dog? And you sign up for it, you're signing yourself up for failure. I think that we're now in a position where we have the ability to stand up and say, hey, look, we want you to do it the right way. We want you to win. We want you to make your dreams come true and become financially free and build a successful business. But the only way you can do that and do it with a healthy conscience and being able to actually sustain it is if you build something that's worth having. And that means doing the groundwork for your breed, making sure you understand what you're doing, having the support, having mentors, having, a true grasp on how to actually successfully breed. And this is a never ending education. But if you don't start with the understanding of what this truly requires as far as time, energy, effort, the animal welfare and stuff of that sort, then chances are you're just going to get frustrated like 90% plus of the individuals who get started. And within 5 years, you'll be out of here because you didn't do your due diligence in the first place. And you didn't really love it for what you're supposed to love it for. Success is a byproduct of value. Gerald, Your success is not by accident, bro. You provide value to a lot of people. And as a byproduct of that, you've been able to create a lot of wealth. My success is not, just because of the fact that I got lucky. I've built my breeding business on value. I've built this on value. I've built these relationships on value. Everything is a value exchange. How are you going to provide value? What are you going to do to make yourself different? What are you going to do to better your breed? How can you put yourself in a position where you are the person people look at and they say, I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I want to actually get a dog from them because that's the best dog I've ever seen. I'm willing to pay for whatever for it. I want that. If you can't answer that question clearly, then you have homework to do.
I think, and I'm going to get to the Rottweiler community in a minute here. I think there's something to be learned no matter what level you're on, right? And I want to touch on the Rottweiler community because I'm the stepchild. See, nobody's challenging me in the Doberman community because I've taken all the L's so they won't have to, right? So they know that I'm not that most Dobie breeders are not checking me, right? Because I'm doing the footwork and I'm continuously doing the footwork for this breed. Now, when it comes to the Rottweiler community, there are some really good breeders out there. I'm not shitting you. It's like, and by me being the conduit between the breeders who've been doing it for a while and the breeders who are trying to get into the breed, I think it's beautiful that I'm the conduit. But here's what I say when it comes to this situation. There are still things about the Rottweiler breed that I'm still learning. And by me having dialogue with actual Rottweiler breeders, it's opening my eyes and it's opening other people's eyes in regards to what do I need to do to tweak my shit? Do I need to get a better looking female? Do I need to get a stud that can be a proven stud? The genotype, the phenotype, what do I want, right? And sometimes you need somebody on the outside to tell you what the fuck you really need. You know what I'm saying? Because we have this subconscious thing, no matter what nobody says, there's a little bit of kennel blindness in all of us because we tend to have a monetary hold on the thing that we need to really get out of. Like, example, I got rid of Adobe 3-4 months ago. That cost me well over $8,000 after you paid it in euros, right? I gave that son of a bitch away for free because I knew the longer I keep him, the more I'm going to dislike what he can offer my kennel, which is nothing, right? And I think when we get on your program as a coach, I mean, as a person being coached or as a mentee, you can give us transparency on, like, first of all, they need to tell you like what they're coming to you for. Like, what is your goal? What is the end game? And I think some of the Rottie breeders out there, if not, no such thing as all or everything. I think that by us talking about it, it brings subconscious awareness. Like, you know what?
There's a really good saying, Gerald, that I want you and everybody that's watching to take away. This is like so crucial. The person who has the least blind spots in life and in business wins. Blind spots. You're mentioning, subconscious awareness. Unfortunately, we see that for a lot of breeders, their ego is at the forefront of their program versus the purpose of what their program represents. So when you talk about taking a loss monetarily or from the simple fact that, hey, I think your dog looks this way and it should look this way. And of course, everybody has their own opinions, but people's egos are so involved in what they do that they can't distinguish constructive criticism from hate. Everything that somebody tells you doesn't mean it's a slight. And I don't necessarily communicate to Breedwise members or individuals negatively, but I'm very honest in the sense that I'm going to tell you what you've never thought of, and a good amount of times what you don't want to hear. And I always say this line, I say, are you okay with me taking my friend hat off and putting my coach hat on? Because as a coach, I'm not supposed to tell you what you want to hear and what makes you feel good, right? I got to tell you, look, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is why you should do this. And if you don't do this, I have mentors that in my life, you know, they'll cut you off if you don't really follow their advice because they know they've been through it. And it's not to say that everybody can't make their own decisions, because sometimes you have to go through the losses.
Gotta hit your camera. Your camera.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you.
You must got one of those Sonys.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
You
know the cameras, bro. My guy knows the cameras. Yeah, nah. So long story short, sometimes it's good for people to go through their own trials and error, you know, and like having to figure it out on them by themselves. Cause you got to get, you know, it's not even with coaching and advice and mentorship, you're still going to go through, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not like that goes away, but it's just about how you process things as you go through it. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what the cool thing about, and I'm gonna get back on it. We're gonna talk about the last person on your team, but not last, but definitely not least. What I learned about the Roddy community, man, is that, man, they're some real cool motherfuckers, and they take a lot of shit from people who are not Roddy breeders. Yeah, and they take shit from people who are breeders. But dude, it's like most of the breeders I've met, man, like Cedar Bluff, ZTR, Paige Haas, Pirate Bay, all these guys have great personalities, because I know some asshole fucking breeders that, you know what, your personality precedes you. And I think that all of them are open, even GSP, all of them are open to improvement. I watched this guy, and this is where your expertise will go in. So there's a guy in North Carolina out there your way, it's called GSP, Roddy's. Now, people may look at him and hear him talk because, you know, he's only online maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And this guy's a fucking idiot. But I know brilliance when I see it, because I've been living long enough. Like, this guy's intelligence. He's sending you guys subliminal messages like, yo, I know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm doing it at my pace. He is now changing the phenotype of his kennel dog by dog. So now somebody's coaching him, or he's sitting back and doing an inventory symbolically. Okay, what do I need to do to improve so I can be more competitive? Now, with that being said, he's probably only seeing a couple of spectrums on what needs to be changed. But if they sign up, and I'm going back to your program, if they sign up for your program, first thing first, they have to be transparent on what setup they got going on. 100%. Because you can't help them if they're not willing to be, man, I tell you like this, bro. You gotta be totally vulnerable. Like for me, like when I was bodybuilding, you know, I give you more detail. When I was going through my prostate situation,
yeah,
one thing I don't like doing, dude, is dropping my draws for another man to examine me. That shit, dude, that shit is. Listen, I dropped my son's draws when I was changing his diapers and all the other shit. But dude, when you're pulling your pants down for another guy, it just, for me, it's a little bit weird.
I can understand.
You have to be vulnerable. You have to say, I'm here for a reason. This guy sees penises 20 times a day. This is different from mine, right? But I'm here for a medical reason. And you have to be vulnerable. But again, I'm gonna spin it back and say we have to be understanding that we cannot be kennel blind. I will give another good point. Shout out to Rich DeBerry, the Foundation Raw. I'm always giving a shout out to motherfuckers, so just letting you know. But they
shout
had
out to Rich.
You know Rich. So yeah.
Yeah, so, Rich. Hey, I'm proud of you guys both for bodybuilding at your ages, man.
At our age, we got grown folk bills too now. So
hey, yeah, nah, you guys did your thing. I'm proud of you. It real inspiration for sure.
Right. So Rich and them had this thing called the PC Presa Canero Club of America, PCCA. And they're trying to get into the AKC books where they're AKC recognized on a full registered level, right? Whatever the process is called. Part of the process is that they have to have these confirmation shows, the evaluation, these breeders standard shows that are recognized by the FCI and by the PCCA. And they import the actual judges from the Canary Islands, where the dog originated from, and they got to hear hardcore truths about their dog they're bringing. So they're really coming there to get criticized, but constructive like, okay, the back is too swooped, the jaws are not right, this needs to be done. And this is, if you place on these shows, there's no fucking money involved. People are coming from North Carolina, LA, Louisiana for this show because they're being vulnerable. So my whole thing is being completely vulnerable. Like, what is the real issue? Because you can't help them if they won't give you all of what is going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say this, right? One of the biggest things when it comes down to just creating the success, like I mentioned, it's an exclusive program. It's not meant for everybody in the sense that we have filters to ensure that the right people get in, because we want to make sure that we're really amplifying those who are doing this the right way and have the right mentality. Because if you don't want to be coached, I'm not going to sit here and spend as much time as I possibly can trying to get you to want to be coached. You have to already come in with the mentality that, hey, this is where look. So if you see Jennifer, who's our student success manager,
Jennifer Smith Baudouin.
No,
Baudouin.
Baudouin. Yeah,
now,
so
I
she
should know that, man. God,
it's all good, bro. It's all good. So she 13 years breeding. Before she became the student success manager, she was a member. And shout out to Jennifer because she does a phenomenal job. If you're watching this, Jennifer, which I'm sure you are, salute to you. You know, I give you that every day. But when it comes down to her, she has been breeding for 13 years. She's leading her breed. And more importantly, she's teaching other people already. But she came in with the understanding that, hey, I still have stuff that I need to learn, and I'm trying to take my program to the next level. So that's a prerequisite for me. If you are looking at joining the academy, you need to make sure that you're already coachable and you understand that you're coming in with a mentality of coachability. If you want to be successful in life, generally, you never stop learning. The number one rule as a breeder is to remain a student of the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's essentially what we really look for, is making sure that these individuals are willing to eliminate their ego and focus on how they can become a better breeder and a better business owner as a whole.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is contributing something to the world, because this is a world wide web, and at a price, not monetary price, but at a price of just give us your time. You know, we got everybody in play that for every question or every issue you have, somebody there with expertise can address those. And with our program, you have direct access, right? And I noticed on your program, let me get back to your page here, because that's what this is all about here. On your page, it's called you got a 12-month program.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So something that says about they get certified or something like that right here.
Correct.
So it's a 12-month program. So it's a minimum 12-month program. And every month, are you guys covering a new topic, or are you addressing what needs to be corrected, or both?
So this is why I said, as far as, great question, by the way, the program, if you go to the homepage.
Okay.
So go down a little bit. So what you see here is everything you need to succeed. This is how we do it. So this is over the year. The content we're creating outside of yours, my friend, is the highest quality content that has been created in the industry. And so
downloadable app? What?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
No.
So long story short, one module per week we release, and you're getting access to the highest quality content available. Each week is predicated on a specific topic, and we do 3 weekly calls. The first call on Monday is a support call with our student success manager, Jennifer, where she's updating the community on everything that's going on, answering questions, community support, showing the rewards that we have, really just giving our community the love that they deserve. Wednesday, we have a masterclass where we teach you the tool that we've created for you for that specific subject, because we're eliminating a lot of the footwork for you to ensure you're able to plug things into your program. And then on Friday, that's when we do our expert Q&A. So the person who was in the content for that module essentially is answering the questions for the people who are in the community who have their questions, etc. So that's the 3 weekly calls. It is on an app, which is really cool. We have that one-to-one student success coach, which is Jennifer. And as we grow as a company, our goal is to not only scale that role, but to ensure that our community has an opportunity to each one teach one. If you show that you're willing and able to learn and implement, we want to give you the opportunity to where you can be of service to other people and really solidify your spot as an educator as well. Again, we're looking at diversifying education. It's not just about one person being the know-it-all, etc. And then we have, again, the done for you systems, which is tools and templates. And lastly is community access. One thing I think is we've seen in our program is that when our breeders win, they triple their prices, their litters are sold out, they're growing on social media, they're going on live. Like right now, if you go on my Instagram, a good amount of my community members are watching right now. Everybody is just so supportive of each other genuinely, and that ego is eliminated, which is why, like I mentioned, it's so important that we make sure the right people get in and we filter the ones who are not meant to be there out, because one bad apple can spoil the rest. And so I'm very particular with who we allow, because one, not everybody is meant to be a breeder. We know that. But two, when it comes down to community, we want to make sure that we're operating with the same core values amongst everybody, you know?
Wow. Yeah, you are going live right now. I saw that. Look at you
Yeah.
killing it. Listen, man, what again, people, if you guys want to follow Austin, you want to get some information about this program that they're offering, I think it's beautiful. When I saw it, I was like, God damn, I said, I'm doing this, I'm doing something, but it's not on that scale. You know, I don't I'm the doctor, I'm the lawyer, I'm just joking, but I'm just, you know, I'm just but you got the professional people in place with the proper credentials. And if you guys want to know more about it, again, I'm going to be putting up reels, put up like 6 or 7 reels to this conversation. Yeah, his spotlight is not on his face, so he has gotten darker because he's using a different camera. You know what I'm saying? You broke the camera. You broke the halo light, did
Yeah, bro, it fell earlier. It's right here though. It's still here. It's just higher. But I was gonna say this, Jero, before. I don't know if this is the exit, I would assume.
Almost, yeah.
Okay, I would say this, bro. When it comes down to what you're doing, just from the creation of content and really being yourself authentically, I will say that it's not only inspiring for a lot of people who have a fear of getting on camera and, like, you know, just really being themselves no matter what anybody thinks. But thank you, because you creating a platform where people who may have never been able to speak publicly before or weren't comfortable, they're comfortable because of how you operate. They're comfortable because they see you being yourself, so they feel like they don't have to put up any facade, etc.
Right.
And so when it comes down to it, I really do believe that you're making some significant changes regarding people just being more transparent, showing behind the scenes, getting out there, shaking hands, kissing babies. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
salute.
I appreciate that. You know, I always give homage and flowers to the guy that actually put me on camera for the first time in 14 years ago, named Zeke. Zeke is the one that has documentary TV on that Zeke. So when he did that Doberman special 12, 13 years ago, that's what got the momentum. And it's like, damn, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Zeke. You know, he's one of the first pioneers in just dog documentary series on different breeds. And that's why I said I didn't want to be like Doberman Planet, where it's breed specific, because how much of Dobermans can you talk about? Right? Think about it. Right? So, and they're all canines. They're all of the canine breed. Why can't we expound on other breeds? Right?
Yeah.
I want to say, man, I appreciate it. If you guys want more information on what we're talking about, this video is going to be posted on YouTube for Infinity. But I will be sending out reels with snippets of good points that we've made. You can always go to breedwise.io. He is also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Jungle Bully Family. And he's on YouTube as well now, believe it or not.
Hey, bro.
At Jungle Bully Family.
Trying to get like you, man.
Hey, man, start somewhere.
I was going to say, for anybody who's watching this, regardless if you contact us at Breedwise or not, the message I would want to leave you is that anything is possible. Believe in yourself. Don't cut corners. Do it the right way. And more importantly, that right now we're entering an era where those who do things based on trust and brand equity and relationships and real value, that is the new era. The old era of ego, competition, cutting corners, doing whatever you can to make a quick dollar, it's getting exposed and it's no longer cool. Holistic is where it's at. So, you know what I'm saying? Conversations need to be had. I hope that not only was this valuable, but if you are somebody that wants to take your breeding program to the next level, regardless of your breed, and you want to turn it into a ethical, profitable, sustainable business, breedwise.io.
All right, man. Listen, again, thanks for being on the show, man. We're going to do this again.
All right? I'm always open, Gerald. You're like the older, you said you had a twin. I was like, bro, I didn't know I was that close to you yet. You know what I'm saying?
What year were you born?
I was in 98.
Man, you might be my son.
That's crazy. That's crazy work.
Hey, man, be resilient, but be responsible. Until next time, people, take care.